This is the presentation for Palm Sunday, Year A. The doctrinal references for catechesis is as follows. A few days before his passion, Jesus entered Jerusalem riding on a donkey. He was welcomed by enthusiastic crowds of people. Jesus' entry into Jerusalem manifested the coming of the kingdom that the King Messiah was going to accomplish by the Passover of his death and resurrection. The materials you'll need are Jesus, several apostles, and various crowd figures taken from the Cenacle and the Gospel characters dioramas. The canvas backdrops are the city outskirts and a country road. If available, you'll need 2 donkeys, one, if you can, larger and the other smaller. We've taken these from the parables. You'll also need several cloaks, so you can see that I actually prepared Jesus cloaked, ready to replace Jesus for later. You'll also need some imitation palms or other flat-shaped greenery to make the path that Jesus goes on. This has just been made out of some toy palms, and I just used sticky tape to put them together. You can use your creative license to do something, to make something similar yourself. I also have a couple of the crowd with some palms for when they wave their palms, welcoming Jesus. You might like to have some images of the event, and we've also got the model of the city of Jerusalem. If the models of donkeys are not available, present the event using a series of images that tell the story. Free Bible Images is a really good source to download lots of free images for educational purposes. Today's Gospel reading tells us about the time when Jesus came into the city of Jerusalem just a few days before he suffered and died on the cross. 3 of the Gospels retell this event. Only Matthew speaks of 2 donkeys. The usual translations seem to imply Jesus rode on 2 donkeys, but this is clearly not the case. A mother donkey accompanied her colt. This can be deduced using the other gospel accounts that indicate that Jesus rode on a young donkey which has never been ridden on before. The word them in Matthew's gospel indicates the cloaks, not the 2 donkeys. The translation from the original language does not make this very clear. Matthew's account, which we hear today, uses the Knox translation, since the wording will be easier for the children. Some words to understand. Today you're going to hear the word colt. Colt is a young donkey. Disciple. A disciple was a person who was following Jesus and listening to his messages in order to learn from him. Hosanna! Hosanna was originally a prayer to God for help and salvation. In Jesus' time, it was a shout of hope and joy rather than a plea for help. The presentation. Today's Gospel reading tells us about the time when Jesus came into the city of Jerusalem just a few days before he suffered and died on the cross. We'll light the candle. A reading from Matthew 21, 1 to 11. When they had come near Jerusalem and had reached Bethphage at the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent 2 disciples, saying to them, "Go into the village ahead of you, and immediately you will find a donkey tied and a colt with her. Untie them and bring them to me. If anyone says anything to you, just say, 'The Lord needs them,' and he will send them immediately." This took place to fulfill what had been spoken through the prophet, saying, "Tell the daughter of Zion, look, your king is coming to you, humble and mounted on a donkey." The disciples went and did as Jesus had directed them. They brought the donkey and the colt and put their cloaks on them and bade Jesus mount. Most of the crowd spread their garments on the road, and others cut branches from the trees and spread them on the road. The crowds that went ahead of him were shouting, "Hosanna to the Son of David! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord! Hosanna in the highest heaven!" When he entered Jerusalem, the whole city was in turmoil, asking, "Who is this?" The crowds were saying, "This is the prophet Jesus from Nazareth in Galilee." I wonder what the disciples were thinking as they followed Jesus' instructions. I wonder why the people were so happy to see Jesus entering the city, riding on a donkey. Some pondering through choices. Use the diorama figures to tell the story of Palm Sunday. The children can use these to retell the story. They can draw or colour a picture that tells the story of Palm Sunday, possibly from some of the beautiful pictures that you have presented to them. They can use the city of Jerusalem to retell the story of Palm Sunday too, and they can also use the accompanying pictures with those.